I'm gonna read a couple more here. Where I get my butt moving, and I'm gonna get my binoculars up on the high corner of that growth of Christmas trees across the valley. It's typically where you're gonna find deer coming out last light. I don't normally head this way at all, but I'm usually in big timber still hunting. But that's steep growth over there. From this angle, you can see into those Christmas trees pretty good with your binoculars. So there's nothing better. I love sitting at last light and watching. It's fun. You never know what's going to come out, right? So I'm going to get going here quick, and then I'm going to start doing that. All right. Hey, hopefully this email finds you. Whoops. Hey, hopefully this email finds you. Hopefully this is the correct email to send my story to. My name is Cody. Feel free to use my name if you share my story. Today I was hiking a portion of Natchez Trace in the middle of Tennessee. It's about a 7-mile loop, and I have my dog with me. About 4 miles in, my dog Ducky, a purebred chocolate lab, stopped in the middle of the trail. His hair on his back stood up, and he let out a low-pitched bark followed by a deeper one. I looked around in the direction he was attentive to and saw nothing. I should mention that the forest was too quiet. No sound at all. I spent thousands of hours in the woods hunting, fishing, and hiking. From experience, when it gets quiet, that usually means something is around. The section we were at in our hike was thick timber and saplings to our left and sloped thick timber to the right. The trail was only 45 feet wide for about 200 yards to get to a clearing and round the corner to descend to the last 1.5 mile of trail left. We stood there for a minute and with no sight or sound of an animal, which Ducky doesn't bark at animals anyway. At that point I felt the need to hurry the hell out of there. Once we rounded the corner, Ducky became normal again. In all my time spent in the woods, I've never felt what I felt today. I've been within 5 yards to black bear, surrounded by coyotes in the day and night, and felt more safe in the instances than I did today. I should also mention that there are no bears in the middle of Tennessee where we were at. Plus, if it was a bear or an animal, we would have smelled, heard, or saw it. There are no people where we're at either. Most people use the shorter 1.5 mile loop rather than the harder 7-mile hike. I know in one of your last videos you talked about a dog's sixth sense, and I believe today that came out in Ducky. Although I'll probably never know what was in the woods with us, I do not believe it was an animal. I do know what the behavior of my dog was different than anything I've experienced with him. Thank you for the platform for people to share their stories, and I appreciate all the information I've learned from your videos. I hope you have a great week and keep the videos coming. Right on, Cody. Thank you for that. Don't mind sharing that at all. It's a good example of how your dog is your sixth sense, and especially if you're not hunting, and if you aren't hunting at all, or if you have kids you're gonna go play early. I swear, you got to start sending them with the dogs. And that's a classic example of why. Okay. That's funny. It kind of comes to bring to mind. We used to have a camp dog. I gotta share this with you. You get a kick out of this one. We used to have a camp dog up north, and that dog was almost like a mute. Never said anything. It's just a Heinz 57. It looked like a small black German Shepherd, but it wasn't. And that dog would only bark when there was a grizzly bear around. Nothing else ever. We'd be riding on the trails, down the trail, be a bull moose down there, or caribou running off the buckbrush, or whatever, and the dog would just stand there beside your horse and go like this, and watch the moose or watch the caribou run away. Wouldn't go running after it, just sitting there. We'd have wolves come right in through camp, right by the cabin at nighttime, howling all around the cabins. And her name was Bailey. She'd just stay in the cabin, not say a word, not look too alarmed, but she knew they were bad. She knew just to hang tight with us. But then the odd night, all of a sudden, if she was outside, she would just cut loose. Boom, we knew it was a grizzly bear. Every single time there's a grizzly in camp. And that's the only time she'd do that, But it's handy to have, right? I mean, that was a handy dog. But it's funny, on the other hand, with the horses, they do the opposite. Crazy, the horses did not give a shit about grizzly bears. I don't know how many times I'd be riding along the trail. I know I'm right behind a grizzly bear on the horse trail because I'd cross the creek crossing and there'd be brand spanking new, drooling, wet grizzly paw prints on those rocks, and I could see where it stopped, turning, facing the direction I'm coming. And my horse is just cruising along like this, with his ears up, do, not giving a shit. You know he can smell that grizzly bear. The wind's in her face. You know he can smell that fresh grizzly bear right ahead of him. Doesn't care. And, you know, there's a story I've got back on my channel somewhere where we rode up and a sow came right in front of me on the trail, and then her cub right there in front of me. And she never saw me. And my hunter behind me. And my horse just didn't give a shit. No warning. Never warn us about a bear. Ever. But if we'd be riding down the trail, and all of a sudden the horse just starts going this. You know, ears cocked forward. Crapping itself. I know it's a moose. It's a moose every single time. They did not like the moose. And I'll tell you why. It's because a rutting bull moose doesn't really care what he's about to try to mount. I'm pretty sure that every one of our horses, well, they got the hobbles on at nighttime running free in the mountains. I think almost every one of them probably almost had a bit of a raping by a bull moose at one point in time. And they didn't like that. They knew trouble was coming. It's funny because way up there in the middle of nowhere, I've been riding along with pack horses behind me leading them, and there's a bull moose coming, bringing up the rear. Oof, oof, coming right up on the asses of those horses, and they're just like, oh my God, get this bad thing away from me, right? But those are examples of how a horse's sixth sense isn't that good. As definitely not as good as a canine's. But anyway, yeah, good for you and Ducky. Listen to Ducky. Ducky's right about everything when it comes to hiking in the forest and what might be going down. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. What do you got? Look, I've got gazillions. This is what I do. I save them. I see there's an email, and I save them, and I stack them into my phone into the notes in a column where I haven't read them, and then I just grab it and I start reading. Oops, what was that one? Now first I'll check how long it is, see if I got time. This is a long one. Holy cow. Nope, I don't have time to read that one right now. But I will read it eventually. Alright. Hey Steve, I recently found your channel after an personal experience my husband and I had last fall. Oh no, I already read that one. Alright. Alright, here we go. Hello Steve. Hope this email finds you well. My name is David Alessi. I'm from Maine originally, but currently live in Georgia. I've always been an outdoors kind of person, camping, fishing, and hunting. I've been following David Plaitis for several years. His videos led me to your YouTube channel. I've had an interest in Sasquatch since I was very young. Growing up in Maine, I never thought these beings were anywhere near Maine, as most of the stories were back in the 70s, revolved around California and the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, that notion was very wrong. I've had a few experiences, but it cannot for sure say it was Sasquatch. My first was back in 84-85 hunting season in Maine, and I was 16 or 17 years old. Every year my dad would let me out of school for a week to go hunting in northern Maine. We had been at camp for several days without anyone seeing any deer. This particular day there were 4 of us, and it was late afternoon. There had been some logging done in the last year, and there were plenty of clear cuts. During the previous day I found a pine tree that had been cut approximately 5 feet high and broke off at the back. Kind of formed a nice chair to sit on and overlooked this huge clear-cut area. The other 3 guys went across the dirt road for this location, and I went to the chair. I'd been there for about an hour when I heard something in the tree line approximately 110 yards from my location. The clear cut was probably 100 yards by 150 yards. A very clear view. I was seated to the front of the cut nearest the road coming in. I waited to see if I could see anything, but I couldn't see any movement. Whatever it was skirting the clear cut and staying inside the tree line. As it got closer, I could tell it sounded fairly big. I was thinking a huge buck, or possibly a black bear. The more I listened, it started to sound like a person or another hunter. I thought maybe one of the other guys decided to come over to my side of the road. As was customary within our hunting group, we would whistle to one another if we were close and couldn't see each other. I let out a quick whistle just to let whoever was there know I was. The movement stopped. I waited for the return whistle and nothing. I continued to look in the direction the sound had been coming from, but still couldn't see anything. I waited for several more minutes without hearing anything. The walking started again. I again whistled, a little louder this time. The walking immediately stopped. I was wondering why this hunter didn't respond back to me. A few more minutes went by. Whatever it was started walking off from me deeper into the woods. I never saw or smelled anything. I didn't think about the woods going totally silent because I was too intent on whatever it was I was hearing. Not until it left the area, I could no longer hear it. Walking, did I notice all the forest sounds came back. Yeah, it's creepy. When we met at the dirt road about 2 hours later, I asked who was hunting out in front of me. No one was. They were all on the opposite side of the road, just from where I'd been. I just brushed it off and didn't mention it to anyone what had happened. There were always certain areas where we would hunt that simply gave me the creeps for whatever reason. That'll be a avalanche in that canyon. I avoided those areas. Good, that's what you're supposed to do when you feel pressure. That's what I do. We still go down that camp, and I go there every summer, but I haven't gone hunting since I was in my 20s. The second incident occurred in Kentucky back in 2007. A friend of mine took me fishing to a lake called Cave Run Lake. We went out on his boat, and we're in an area where there were no camps, houses, or roads near the lake. As we were working our way down the bank, I got the weird sense we're being watched. I didn't hear anything or smell anything. Just that feeling you get. We continued to fish, and the feeling got stronger. I told my friend what I was feeling, and he said he was also feeling it. About that time, we heard what initially sounded like an elk bugle, but it didn't sound quite right. Somehow it was off. I can't explain it. Then we heard what sounded like something very large moving away from us and the bank. Several large-sounding branches were broken off as it moved away. It could have been an elk, sure. I can't say for sure if it was or wasn't. However, I've been watched by several deer and a bear and never once had that strange feeling. Last, I'd like to add my own personal beliefs about Sasquatch. I most certainly believe these beings exist. My biggest reason for believing is the Native American First Nations people. For centuries and generations, they have passed down the stories about the hairy people of the woods, the giants of the forest, the protectors of the land. Every single tribe has stories. Prior to the governments and the white man giving false treaties and deceiving them, these people didn't know what it was to lie. They were and still are very honest people. Every legend, story, or myth always has truth within. I find it very hard to believe that all different tribes in the U.S. and Canada were all lying about the knowledge of Sasquatch. Sorry for the long email. Thank you for being such a straightforward, no BS kind of guy. I respect you and know you have nothing to gain by telling your encounters. Again, thank you for all you do. I know it can be very life-consuming. Sincerely, David Alessi. All right, David, thanks for that email, man. Appreciate it. And good for you being in tune with that feeling, right? We all have that feeling, and you got to listen to it. It's not a question about the feeling. It's about a question about if you're going to listen to yourself or not. That's your intuition telling you something's up and it's not safe and to pay attention. And that's what I'm trying to get across to 100% of all of you if you don't understand that yet, right? But anyway, what if the deer can hear me from across that way? Probably. Oh well. What else? I put a photograph up on the YouTube channel community page, I think it's called. And I made a new email on the domain name called askme@howtohunt.com. All right? askme@howtohunt.com. And I did that so that any of you have questions, have some important questions you want to ask me, whether it's you ask me anything you want, all right? As long as it's worthwhile, you know what I mean? Like something that really deserves a good answer. And if I can answer that question, I'll answer it. And what I would like to do is possibly, if you guys throw those questions at me, and we'll get a handful of them together, and depending on how many questions come in, we'll make a video answering questions maybe once a week or once every couple weeks, so that I can do that, okay? Because I can't read the comment section. I can't. It's impossible. And I'm sure that a lot of people out there are asking me questions via, I've been told they are too. You're asking me questions on the comment channel, and I just don't have time. And remember I did that live YouTube once? I don't have time for that either. I just don't have time. And I think if I did do that, it's not really fair because there's so many people on there. The questions, it's just going like so fast. It was ridiculous. And I'm not going to pull everybody's questions out of there and get them. What else? I definitely am not going on radio shows or other channels to be interviewed by people who are just looking to build up their following. I'm not going to do it. I don't have time for them. I don't have time for that. There's, like I said earlier, we're pushing up on 2.75 million views per month on this channel. Everybody's here, and more people are coming. So whatever we have to share here is getting out, possibly more than any other channel available today. But I just don't have that time. I don't have the time to be interviewed. I just don't. And I guess it doesn't even interest me, right? I mean, you can see there's some other people out there who have far more popular known names than mine, and they'll do anything they can to get on as many shows as they can or interviews as they can, no matter what, right? They keep saying the same old stupid broken record bullshit at the same time as well. But anyway, unlike them, I just don't have that time, and I don't have that urge. I don't have that need for it. I don't have that need for the attention either. All right. So what I do have is a need for attention for every single one of you. That's what this channel is about. It's the attention for all of you. And but anyway, if you have some questions for me that you think my answer might help you with something, email it to me at askme@howtohunt.com. And I will get to it for sure. Or I'll get somebody else to go and hit that email and rip off that list for me, text it to me, get it on my phone, so that I can have a pause in what I'm doing like I am today. And then I can pull over or sit down on a tree and pull the shit out of my backpack and read those questions out and answer them. All right? But that is it for now. I got to get out of here. Well, actually, I'm not getting out of here. I got to get my binoculars, and I want to have a look at that tree line right there until it gets dark. So be safe, everybody.